Once you get to the final tier in Dune Awakening, the real grind begins. You're going to need Plastanium. This requires 2 key ingredients: titanium ore and stravidium fibers. Those fibers you will actually get at the medium chemical refinery by refining your stravidium mass. So let's go over exactly how to get both of those ores so you can ultimately get this Plastanium Ingots for all those tier 6 items. Now, in order to prepare yourself, you're going to need an ornithopter, lots of spare fuel, potentially even a tent, and your cutter ray Mark 5 or higher. This will require you to go to the deep desert. I personally use the Scout Ornithopter, and I put the thrusters to get there, and on the way back when I collect the materials, I use the storage. You are going to have to go to the deep desert. So very simply, just fly to the edge of the map, whichever is closest for you. You fly straight into the wall and it prompts you to go to the world map. Once here, you need to go all the way to the top left and you click here at the deep desert. There are 3 entry points, just pick one and you enter in. This prompt, nothing survives the Coriolis storm, means everything gets reset every week. Anything you build there will get destroyed, I believe, between Monday and Tuesday. So you need to bring it back to the Haga Basin. Once here, jump back in your ornithopter, and this place is absolutely massive. At first, it will all be just covered in fog of war. You can reveal this by just traveling around, but I would also recommend you bring a survey probe launcher with those survey probes to map out these areas. Just be aware though that, again, every week this is reset and the map will be entirely new. It'll have different rock formations and different areas you can go. In order to get your titanium and stravidium, you're going to have to go far out into the deep desert to all these outcroppings of land masses. Now this place is PvP, so if you have enemy ornithopters, they could potentially be running rockets, camp you out, and destroy you and take your loot. Personally, I've done a lot of trips out into the deep desert and have not yet encountered any resistance, but I am relatively early and potentially when people get more maxed out, they'll get bored and hunt for PvP. This is one of the reasons I run with the boosters. They allow you to get height very quickly. I also use the Scout Ornithopter because it's that 20 kilometers faster than the Assault Ornithopter. Just be aware it has half the storage. So yes, not as ideal for trips. You're going to have to go for quite a few more. Now once you get to these outcroppings, you can look around for the new ores. The ones closer to the main landmass generally don't have much. Also, if you do find these shipwrecks, most definitely take the opportunity to loot them. It is a PvP zone, so if somebody has already looted them, then there'll simply be nothing to be found. This worm might also just come and eat it, because somebody could already have been there. Yup, rip, I ain't getting it. Unless you bring a ton of fuel, you will want to master how to glide. Once you ascend up, you then are going to enter the vulture mode, so just click that key, your ornithopter will say plummet down, it'll get to speed, and you need to get to your ideal glide speed. So with a Mark 5 ornithopter, the ideal glide speed is 170 kilometers per hour. Once you're at that speed, simply put this little dot on the horizon line as you see there in the middle of the screen, and that will give you your perfect glide speed. I've been here a few times, so I already know a very good spawn location for the ores. Just up here, there's a ton of titanium. Make sure you keep topping up your fuel. And if you're new and don't know any of the locations where the ores spawn during this week, when you get to an outcropping, you simply have to look around. For example, right here, I believe this is some stravidium. These ores will look very metallic versus the other ones. So we scan it, do the little mini game, and there we go, we got our stravidium. We got 43. That's a combination of this Mark 5 cutter ray and my plantologist being maxed out at level 3. Now once I start gathering ores, I'm going to put the storage on here instead of the thrusters, and then offload those items there. These resource nodes are very few and far between, and you will be lucky to get multiple at the same landmass. Once you have mined a node, the icon will be on the map, so you'll be able to return there. But again, this is all reset when a new week happens. Here's another node of Stravidium, and you can quick deposit it into the ornithopter once you have already that item in the inventory. I will now go to my titanium spot so you can see what that looks like. Way up ahead there is a spice explosion. You will need to go to those locations if you want to farm spice. My previous video did go over a bunch of details on that, but I might go more thoroughly over it in its own dedicated video. Using the scan thing on the ornithopter will not scan your Stravidium or titanium unless you've already been there and mined it. So it doesn't help to say actually find the ore, but this is titanium. And again, we'll put that in the storage. Now in this location, there's a ton of it. I'll put some light on it and you can see it's like that blue metallic. Don't mistake it for like copper ore. Some people have actually built bases here, and yes, I technically could too. However, after storms for about 6 minutes, I believe you can break into people's bases and rob them. For now, I just make the round trip from my base in Haga Basin, filling up my ornithopter and then going back home. Again, it's crazy how many nodes are here, with this having like 2 on top of each other. I need to find a place like this for Stravidium. There's another player. He's probably not too happy that I stole most of his titanium, but thankfully he doesn't have rockets. My storages are full. Now we gotta make the trek back home. 12,000 meters back to the shield wall. And you can simply leave your mouse like that with the dot just at the base of that triangle, as long as you're at your perfect glide speed, which if you check your vehicle, I'm a Mark 5. The wings here, you look at the stats, they show 170 glide speed. If you only have a Mark 4, you need to be gliding at 160. Later on, I hope to get the Mark 6, and that'll have 180 glide speed. And this is versus the Assault Ornithopter, which is always going to be 20 kilometers per hour less, along with it being a lot less mobile. But again, it has the bonus of being able to run rockets and storage, or booster and storage. I don't know, again, how useful the rockets are going to be. It will just depend on your server. As a solo player, I'm not really sure running rockets is worth it. If you run into another solo player, you're best off just leaving each other alone. But if you run into another group and you're solo, you're kind of screwed and the rockets are not going to be useful. You'll be better off with the booster to get out of there. Thankfully, no ship can run both the booster and the rockets. It is a bit tedious doing all this gliding. Again, you can consider building a base out there, but just be prepared to have to be able to defend it. You can of course put all your valuables on your character when you log out. Otherwise, I believe there's something with people not being able to break through walls. You can through doors, and so you just replace all your doors with walls. I don't know the full details, so for now I'll just be taking these trips there and back. I'll show you a base here of a bunch of guys who've pretty much maxed out. You can see they have like a carrier ornithopter there. They have the spice harvester, a load of other ornithopters. They have the maxed out refineries, including the large spice refinery, and all of those things. Yeah, they cost an insane amount of resources. And as a solo player, it will still take me quite a while to get there, but they're undoubtedly a group. You simply fly again to the edge of the map here, where you have like the shield wall, and it will prompt you to go to the world map. We go to the bottom right and we find Haga Basin again, and you can enter in on the side of the map depending whichever is closest to your base. You jump back in your ornithopter and you fly back home. Here we are. Just be aware you can get sandstorms in the deep desert. just like in Haga Basin. So what I do here is unload everything from my ornithopter, drop it on the ground, and that way I can use the tool to get rid of my ornithopter, poof, and now I can find a cave or a tent. I just put it over my loot. I don't think the storm will damage the loot, and we can hide in the tent and wait for the storm to blow over. So once back at base, we can offload the ores here from our scout ornithopter. We can then craft our Stravidium fibers using that water and the Stravidium mass. And we can finally make our Plastanium ingots with the titanium ore and those fibers. And that's it. My guide on how to get that new ore that you need for the final tier of Dune Awakening currently. I have heard rumors that the game supposedly is going to have like 10-year support of new updates and going to new planets. So we'll undoubtedly get new technology tiers, or at least adding to the current one. So I hope this helps. A special thank you to all these channel members for their extra support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.